good afternoon and welcome. The stage is set here at Cooks Square Park for a showdown with plenty on the line in the Northern New South Wales Women's NPL match of the round for round 8. It's the top of the table, Maitland FC, unbeaten and unapologetically gritty, hosting the ever-determined Lake Macquarie City, the only side to have taken points off the Magpies this season. Joe writes, Maitland have made a habit of defying expectations. Despite leading the league, they still wear the underdog tag with pride, a badge of honour stitched deep into their club's DNA. With 5 wins and a draw, they've weathered injuries, rotated players and kept on rolling. But today's test is familiar. Round 1 saw these two sides share the spoils, and now with more experience and a bit more edge, right side will look to go one better. Lake Macquarie, meanwhile, are still finding their rhythm in their debut NPLW season. They're coming off a midweek cup exit, but remain upbeat and focused. Their assistant coach, Mick Hugo, said it best. Every week's tough, every point is crucial. We'd love to get some points today, and I believe we can. They'll need all hands on deck to contain a Magpie side that doesn't give an inch, especially here on their home turf. So will Maitland extend their unbeaten run, or can Lakes spoil the party once again? I'm Chris McPherson, and alongside me is Newcastle Jets A-League Women's Captain Cassidy Davis. Cass, great to have you. What are you looking forward to in this one?
Yeah, I think last time these guys played, it was a physical match. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing that again. I think, yeah, Lakes are getting better each week. So I think it's going to be a good test for them. And obviously Maitland coming off the back of a good win against Charlestown is going to see, hopefully, a good game today.
Certainly, I hope it can live up to the standard of that first game. We know Maitland have been setting the pace atop the table. In terms of Maitland, there's some good news for them. Charlie O'Connor and Renee Pountney both cleared on the bench for them today. So potential we may see them. Pountney with a calf injury, O'Connor from concussion.
Yeah, obviously two good additions to their team, and we know what Renee can do as well. So it'd be good to see her get some minutes today. They've probably missed her a little bit the last few weeks in attack, but yeah, good to have Charlie back as well. Obviously not nice being out with concussion, so always good to be back in the squad.
Certainly is. They've had their injury troubles this year, Maitland, but as I said in the intro, they've soldiered on. Let's have a look at how the two teams do line up for this afternoon's fixture, which will be with us only momentarily. Looking at Lake Macquarie City in goals, will be number 50, Elise Vella. Number 2 is Sunny Mitchell. 4, Caitlin McMahon. 5, Sarah Casey. 6, their American import in Annie Jensen. Number 7 is Kimmy Trappett. Number 8, Brooke Summers. Number 11, Emily Loder Weston. Number 12, Matisse Lorellin. Number 13, Kezia White. And number 17, Lily Brooks. They are coached by Gabrielle Blanche. And for the home side, Maitland FC in goals will be number 1, Annabella Thornton. Number 3 is Julie Innes. Number 4, Keely Gawthrop. Number 8, Sophie Nanatovic. Number 11, Sophie Stapleford. Number 15, Willow Neal. 17 is Serena Carter. 18, Talia Gosner. 22, Georgie Williams. 23, Georgia Ames. And 35, their leading goal scorer, Mary Enswang. And on that note, Cass, Enswang has taken his competition a little by storm. You could be forgiven when you see some of the numbers some other people, including your club mate Tara Andrews and our co-commentator, is putting up. She's just having an absolute bonanza at the start of the season. I think she's outscored all but maybe 2 of the clubs, including her own, so far this season with 17 goals. But Enswang has slotted in here. It took her a week or two, but once she's found her footing, she's making a habit of finding the back of the net.
Yeah, she's a very key player for Maitland. Obviously, last time we commentated together, I think she got a couple of goals and looked very dangerous. So it'd be interesting to see exactly where she lines up today, now that Sophie Stapleford has been back for a couple of weeks too. But yeah, very good addition for Maitland, and yeah, she's dangerous. Got good technique and can find the back of the net.
Yeah, they're certainly dangerous when they gel, Maitland. I guess the biggest challenge they've had is just finding that cohesive unit with those injuries. For the other side, you look at Lake Macquarie, and they've had changes each week too as they try and settle in their first season, bringing a new side together in this NPL competition. It can't be easy, but they've done really well. We've seen some real flashes of brilliance, but we've seen some moments they'd probably like to have back. I mean, if we look at the draw here, the absolute hammering of Broadmeadow, we thought they might have turned the corner then, but then they bounced back with a loss to Rosebuds last week, which might have been a bit of surprise on that form line.
Yeah, I think this competition's very up and down with who's going to beat who, and yeah, you can see that with some of the results. So yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Lakes. It's always tough having your first season and trying to make sure that you can keep everyone on the park as well. But I think that comes down to how early the competition starts too. I think, yeah, people didn't really realise how early it was going to start, and that makes your pre-season then be a bit shorter. So that can hurt you a little bit at this time of the season with injuries. But just looking here, good to see Kimmy Trappett back as well from her ACL. Yeah, another good addition for Lakes.
Yeah, she's certainly got plenty of experience, having spent the time at Rosebud through the emerging Jets as well. So we look forward to seeing her back in action. Obviously, the big absence for Lakes we know of is Taylor Gray. They're still without her, so Elise Vella deputising at keeper for them. Taylor's at her best, one of the best keepers in the NPL, so not easy to replace. I know she's only young and on her way through. They'll welcome her back in a few weeks, but in the meantime, they've got a job to do at the back.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Taylor getting 8 weeks. I think she got it's a long time to be out as a goalkeeper and such a key player for your team, and we know the shortage of goalkeepers in Newcastle and maybe just in women's football in general. It's really difficult. So they're going to be very excited when Taylor's back on the pitch, and hopefully that they can keep the ball away from the goal area. But I'm sure Lakes will be willing to put in a good fight.
Well, so far earlier in the day in the lower grades, Lakes have taken the majority of the honours. We saw them come back in the reserve grade fixture to win 3-2, coming from behind. They won 3-2 as well in the under-17s, 6-1 in the 15s, and Maitland just the sole win so far today, 4-1. So based on that, there's been plenty of goals here today. Hopefully that might be a show that continues as we get underway shortly with the NPL. Yeah,
we love seeing lots of goals, more to talk about. So yeah, hopefully we can see a few in the back of the net, and be nice to see a few screamers as well.
That would be nice. There's plenty of people here who are capable of burying some from distance. Let's have a look at the other results from earlier in the weekend as well. In round 8, the other two games completed. Azuri and New Lambton, 2-2 draw. That's I guess 2 weeks ago Azuri were flying. They were undefeated and they lost to Maitland for the first time in 8 games. And then a draw against New Lambton. It certainly would have been nice with your ties to New Lambton to take some points from Azuri, a few of your former teammates there as well.
Yeah, nice to get a draw against Azuri yesterday. Obviously, I'm a bit biased. I think we probably should have got the result with a goal that went in but wasn't given. So but a really good physical game actually, very intense. Azuri obviously having a little bit of a rough patch at the moment, but I think that just shows the competition and how our teams on their day can beat anyone. So I think it's good for the comp too, and obviously Maitland beating them last week as well. It's what we want to see, teams upsetting other teams, and then when you get out there you can't take any game lightly.
Yeah, we've seen that with some of the results that have thrown up some curlier pieces, but in the other game as well last night it went to script. Olympic comfortable winners 3-0 over Broadmeadow. That makes it back-to-back wins for Olympic after they hit a little speed bump of their own and lifts them back up to 3rd. And it certainly looks on the ladder like those top 4 are starting to break away a little bit, but as you said, there's a few of these sides in those bottom 3 especially that have shown if you do just you turn up on a game day and a little bit off your game and not quite as attentive as you need to be, they will rattle these top sides.
Yeah, that's for sure. Adamstown is starting to do that now. They beat New Lambton in the League Cup by quite a few goals, so you see that these teams on their day can beat anyone, and I think it's going to be good for the comp this year. I think over the past few seasons there's been some big score lines, and it's not what you want to see in the league. You want these competitive games, you want people to come and watch and be interested in it. Sometimes when there's too many goals going in, it kind of puts people off a little bit. So yeah, it's good to see the competitiveness in the competition. Yeah,
it's great to be able to call much more competitive games. I know in previous years you said we've had sort of, each season there's almost been a team that you just feel that almost no matter who they're playing against, they're going to ship 5 or 6 and it's going to be a tough day. And that's got to be a long season as well for the players, but it's hard for fan engagement. So I know we've had 1 or 2 score lines that have been a little bit bigger. I know I think New Lambton had one of those, and to be fair, Macquarie had one which was probably a surprise for many in that Friday night game against Broadmeadow. And when it's a surprise and not just the expected turn up, I think we can sort of wear some of those. But we've had lots of really enthralling encounters, including obviously the one for you guys last night, and there's been a couple of others in recent weeks that have really been, I guess, on the knife's edge. Maitland beating Azuri the week before, so it's great to see, and there's just so much football coming at us. As you said, we've had the cup games during the week. We've got those continuing to come up. We've got the Regional Super League coming up. It's great to be able to bring all of that to the fans on Northern New South Wales YouTube, and of course it's a place you can find all your men's and women's first grade, reserve grade, free and live every week. So certainly an honour to be able to call the match of the round each week alongside the likes of yourself and Tara and Renee Valentine. As we get set here for kick-off, this game crucial. Lake Macquarie looking to close the gap on the top 4. Maitland will go back to the top. They currently sit equal in competition points, but behind Charlestown on goal difference on the live ladder. Plenty on the line. Last time we were here, it was a 1-1 draw. Who will walk away with the chocolates from Cook Square Park. Referee just suggesting some maybe jewellery and wristband adjustments to Sarah Casey. And now we are about set. Headband's the order of the day for both sides. And Kimmy Trappett, Sarah Casey and Marianne Swing all rocking their headbands. Maitland in the unfamiliar, I guess we'll call it an aqua or a teal kit, Cass.
Yeah, I don't mind it actually, but I'm not sure why they're playing in their away kit, I think it might be, at their home venue. Maybe to do with Lakes' colours.
We'll see if we can get some clarification on that and work out what's happening there, because I know, as I said to you off air, the juniors didn't have the alternate kit, but it might just be the seniors that have got it available to them. In the meantime, we get back underway here, and Anadovic takes a little knock there on the knee, a little ginger coming out of that contest. We'll keep an eye on that. And Casey on the ball, tries to play it down a line, but no one there to take it on. Trappett pushing as Maitland work it around through Williams. And send it back to the centre of defence. Threaded ball going forward. Finds Stapleford, but she drops it back to the defenders. All of a sudden an opportunity here. Amos pushes it across the top of the 18-yard box. They cut back, take a shot. Vella watchful. The referee says it took a deflection. So we'll have a corner. Nice early opportunity here for Maitland. Shape for the short corner. Stapler waves off Amos, and she'll take it on. Drops it a little short though in the end, and unthreateningly skims away into the side of the netting. Yeah, Lakes look to go long, but it's picked off on the right of defence by Neal. Jensen plays it to the right. Drop it back into defence with White and McMahon. Probing ball to the captain in Summers. Casey looks to tap it on again down that line, and again it doesn't work out. Maitland lay it back. All the way back to Thornton. She'll look to play it out. Lakes doing well, pressing and closing out the avenues. Maitland struggling to find ways out of their defence. They break though with Williams. Turnover, dangerous areas, shot from Maitland. Shot from Macquarie, sorry, and they push it wide. Instead it falls for Lorellen. And she couldn't get a clean contact on it. It's pushed back to the middle. Cass, I'm already having challenges with those kids. I can't get my brain switched off from, the clash and the Aqua not being the away team here.
Yeah, when I actually got here, I was looking at the reserve grade game and I was confused myself. I thought, yeah, the white was Maitland, so we'll have to get ourselves used to that.
Well, a bit of a trap for the commentators, keeping us on our toes as Lakes look to go on the attack here. They can't execute. Throw in on target. Stapleford almost dispossessed by Jensen. They continue to go forward. Down the line looking for Neal. Taken away. Last touch off Mitchell, and Neal will take the throw. Off for Gawthrop. Plays it through nicely for Ames. Defence pushes across, and McMahon sees it away for another corner, a second corner for the Magpies. Swing with the corner. Again, they drop it short. Opportunity here. Not quite blocked. They prod it into the box. Push it wide now from Innes to Enswang. Enswang just clatters into Sonny Mitchell. Sonny Mitchell comes away with the ball. Striding away down the flank. Couldn't get it out in front of Matisse Lorellon though, and Gosner takes it. Nanatovic now. Williams. Amos. Stableford has a pocket pick by Trappett. Summers threads it. Finds low to Western. Put out now in front of Casey, but Thornton will be up to it. She races out and picks it up. Early stages here, Cass. Both sides showing some glimpses when they can string a couple of passes together.
Yeah, it's been a interesting game so far. I think, yeah, both teams trying to settle in and figure out where the opposite team may be hurting them and maybe what shape they're playing, and just trying to see where they might get hurting behind or where they can exploit them. So yeah, trying to get a few more passes together and settle on the ball is probably key for now.
Let's see if Maitland can be the first to try and drive another attack forward now. Another throw in their way. I'll take the throw on the left. Gawthorpe trying to find space. Brooks doing her best. A one-on-one challenge. Now the numbers converge on her. Stapleford pressing. Jensen drops it back into that pocket. Casey feigns a play of the ball and it ends up going across the sideline. It'll be a throw again. So Maitland, Innes to take it. Goes the long throw looking for Nswang. Up against White, and she manages to play it off White for another throw. Maitland just maintaining possession in tight quarters down that left attacking edge. Kelly Gawthorpe now gets a little nudge and then is dispossessed. And it will be a throw this time going the other way, so Lakes will have an opportunity to break out of their defensive half. Maitland plenty of possession in the attacking half early. Not able to do too much with it. Appeals on the challenge. The referee does pull it up now. Also caution Sophie Stapleford on the run. We certainly know, Cass, from what we've seen earlier in the year, the referees won't be spoken too much at all, certainly in that sort of manner. If you're a bit too animated, a bit too heated, we've seen some players who've overstepped the line, and we talked on Taylor Gray before. She got 8 weeks for her efforts, which are deemed to have gone well over the line. So you just need to be so cautious in this day and age.
Yeah, you do. Obviously, they've got the new rules in with respect to referees, and we know how hard it is to get referees. So yeah, you just got to try and make sure that you can support them as well, and then do the same to players.
And swing through on goal. Nice little ball out in front of Amos. Can she get an opportunity? No. Jensen sliding across. A good defensive effort. They do well to keep it in. And certainly the zero tolerance policy is there, and it's there for a reason, to try and maintain numbers of referees and allow them to do their job in a safe and effective way. All of a sudden, here we see Maitland trying to get another attack, looking for Neil down the right. One-on-one foot race here, and Loda Weston just doesn't quite win out on the ball. Left Talia Gosner well behind, but couldn't reel the ball in before it headed over the sideline. Jensen and Gawthorpe. Interesting there. It was after Jensen did eventually let go that Keeley used all of her wiles, Cass, just to earn the foul.
Yeah, you could both see them kind of grabbing each other there, and yeah, probably a little bit soft if you're if I'm thinking I'm on the field, I'd be a bit annoyed at that.
I think it'd depend on which team you're on. I think if you're on Maitland's team, you're pretty happy with that result and telling Keely that she's done a great job there selling it. And sometimes that's half the nuance of the battle. They play down that left-hand side, and something that certainly caught my eye. I haven't seen a lot of Georgie Williams at this point this season, but she is just bouncing around like a little pocket rocket, just like a little pinball over on that left-hand side.
Yeah, I'd agree. I haven't seen a lot of her either, but yeah, from what I've seen so far today, she's very agile and very quick to move the ball. So I think she could be very dangerous in little areas around the 18-yard box. And yeah, she's got some speed. So if they can try and get her in behind Lake Macquarie's defence, I think yeah, she could really do some damage.
Just 17. Reminds me of a couple of your teammates at the Jets, a couple of little pocket rockets you've got that are much the same, and I think as much as they're dangerous, they sometimes just frustrate the opposition with how much energy and how much they sort of bounce around. I'm thinking of the likes of Dundas and Gooch, most particularly in your team at the moment.
Yeah. Josie Allen, I'd probably say is the main one, to be honest. She's the hardest one to mark at training. She's strong and yeah, gets really low to the ground. It's just really hard to get the ball off her, and she's got some good skill as well. So yeah, they're definitely very frustrating players to play against. They're the ones that you want on your team.
Josie's also always entertaining. I know, calling her in the emerging Jets game, she's sometimes happy to go into a contest where she is clearly well and truly outsized. I think sometimes she forgets how small she actually is.
Yeah, I think she does too. Like if she hits the gym, so otherwise she'd be yeah, flattened on the ground.
Plenty of character, plenty of attitude. It's great to see. As we see Maitland turn it over in attack. An optimistic ball threaded out, looking for the pace of low to Western, but Maitland are up to it and aware. Looks like it's going to be a persistent tactic for Lakes there. Low to Western clearly has a yard or two of pace on both the centre-backs, and you feel that one of two things is going to happen. Either she's going to manage to break free, or they're going to start sinking deeper and deeper, which is probably going to create the space this side of them. Yeah,
you can see what Lakes are trying to do. Obviously use Em's pace and try and get her in behind, trying to beat their back line, which she's capable of doing. So I think Lakes just need to try and wait a little bit longer before they play her, because they need some support. It can't just be her trying to beat their back two or back three. So they need to try and get some more players higher at the pitch, and I don't mind what they're doing, trying to play out. They've just got to try and do that in the middle third.
Again, just getting to that sort of top of the attacking third and prodding a ball optimistically into the box there, and Annabelle Thornton was easily up to that. To Cass's point, it just seems a little more optimism than planning. We'll wait and see if they can adjust that, trap it. Plays it wide, they drop it back through their defence with White. McMahon. And swing pushing up towards her, but she lofts it down. Well clear of Casey, and Innes will have all the time in the world to play it back across. Pass wasn't quite where they wanted it, but it's turned out okay. And swing now up against White. Nice control in close quarters, plays it out for Williams. And swing making a run through, but it's broken up just enough by Lake Macquarie for now. Now they go on the counter attack. Trap it. See some aqua jerseys present in front of us. It pulls up. They lay it back across. It comes to Jensen. She drives it out wide. Sonny Mitchell's out there. Up against Will O'Neill. It's actually Lorellen, sorry. The flag's gone up for offside.
There's a good ball there by Jensen. She made a nice turn and played a nice ball out to Matisse Warrington, which was, great switch of play. If Lakes can try and get their midfielders on the ball a little bit more, I think they'll start to hurt Maitland. You can see that Maitland have two kind of central strikers, and they're playing with just Keely and Sophie in the midfield. So looks like there might be a bit of an overload there for Lakes if they can get their two central midfielders on the ball.
Jensen certainly, looking at their most recent games, has been the key. Not only creating but also scoring. She's got 3 goals in the last 2 games, and she's really slotted in. We talked about Marion swing from a Maitland point of view, but similarly for Jensen, she was sort of playing a bit of a lone hand. You could see when they first played here that she didn't quite know how to gel with the teammates. probably lines up with what you were talking about, that shorter pre-season, players coming in, building a side. Then if there's not much time to build those combinations and get, friendly matches in before the season.
Yeah, it's important to get as many pre-season games as you can to try and build that cohesion with your teammates.
For race here for Casey. Casey the outside on the edge of the 18-yard box, crosses it in along the ground. Optimistic from Loaded Western, tries to find the eye of the needle to thread it through, but manages to earn a corner in the end.
Yeah, it was a good play by Lakes, trying to get the ball into a wide area, and they had a few more numbers in the box. Then they've earned themselves a corner.
Miss Jensen to take the corner. Lofts it up towards the keeper. Thornton gets a hand to palm it. Not clearly completely, but it's away to the top of the 18-yard box. Sonny Mitchell pops it down the line. Llewellyn, Mitchell now. Plays it through Nenadovic's legs. Enswing coming back, does well to pick it off, but looking for options. She decides to loft it. Stapleford controls it with the chest. Pushes it wide, looking for the pace of Williams. She played it off her opponent's head and managed to get possession back. Then overcooked it, looking for a mess. Lakes go straight on the counter. Mitchell with plenty of time and plenty of space takes it on. Nenadavic tries to make the tackle, but Mitchell gets away. Prods it infield, doesn't quite find Llewellyn, and in the end, Will O'Neill happy to push it across the sideline.
It's a good little run by Sonny Mitchell. I think Matisse tried to run inside to say, keep going, get down that line. Just unfortunate she couldn't get enough on her cross.
Turn it over here. Maitland will have to work out of the defensive third. Yeah, with the throw in. Attack forward. Amos plays it in for Enswing. Nice little 1-2. Frees up Amos on the left. She decides to cut back against the grain though. Now plays it wide and swings there. She can support with her if she wants it. Amos makes a run. They've got options in the box, but Vella comes out off a line and takes it at waist level. Maitland certainly getting numbers forward in attack. Llewellyn back to McMahon. Again, Maitland sit back, and McMahon takes it on. Neal gets a little glancing headed to it. Shoulder-to-shoulder contact. Gosner wins out. And Maitland will earn the throw in as well. Interesting when you're looking at this late Mac lineup, they're without their scorer from this game and this reverse fixture in round one. And also their leading scorer at the moment, which is interesting in Taylor Thackeray. So they're going to need to find the goals from somewhere. As I said, Arnie Jensen's probably one of the leading suspects or candidates.
Yeah, I think so. Even just watching her delivery on the corner, her technique's so good, and if you can keep her, we'll get her a little bit higher up the field. She's playing quite deep as a number 6, so maybe as the game goes on, they might start to push her a little bit higher and try and get some shots from around the 18-yard box.
Other goal scorers in multiple goals this season so far, Emily Loader-Weston and Matisse Llewellyn, both 2 goals to their names from 6 appearances, or 6 and 5 appearances respectively. And then you start to get a bit thin on the ground. Brooke Summers and Lily Brooks both have 1 each to their name, and that is the cumulative makeup of their goal scorers so far this season. One little bit of confidence they can take, Lakes, is they are one of the few teams that have scored against Maitland this season. Maitland, to this point of the year, have been the best defence in the league, conceding just 4 goals. So we talked about it. Joe Wright talked a lot about building a gritty defence, and those sorts of numbers certainly suggest he's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, they do. It's a pretty good start to have only 4 goals conceded in what game are we up to?
This will be their seventh game.
Seventh game, so
less than a goal a game.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm starting to see them getting a little bit confident though, sending quite a few numbers forward, as you said before, Chris. So if Lakes can try and capitalise on that, try and get the ball into midfield and break forward, you can see that Maitland could maybe make that 5. But then again, it works the other way. If they get numbers forward and score, then obviously they're happy. So
I'm sure your side would be happy if, you know, they don't concede any, get a little bit more confidence in a few forward, and then the goals come next game against them.
Yeah, that would be nice. Let's hope so. It's going to be a tough game next week against Maitland, or the week after.
Yes, instead of the week after, we have a nice little break for Easter, which will be lovely for everyone. The competition will, I was going to say, take a hiatus, but I guess a week in between games because of the Easter weekend, and then we'll head into the Anzac round. And to that point, Macquarie will have a big job next week. They take on Olympic, while Maitland will have a top 4 battle against New Lambton. Down at Alder Park, that one on the 26th of April, the Saturday after Anzac Day. And of course, if you can't get to Alder Park, you'll be able to watch it live and free here as Stapleford curls that one into the box and maybe optimistically appeals for a handball. Sonny Mitchell making a run. Saving an Ardovic. I was going to say uses all her experience there, but maybe used a little too much of it, says the referee.
I don't think Sophie Stapleford's going to be happy with that delivery. I'm not sure whether both corners that Maitland have taken, it seems like they can't get the ball too far into the box. Whether they're just trying to find... Yeah, it's sometimes tough. Ball could be a little bit flat, a little bit hard. Some little things sometimes hurt that, so I'm sure she won't be happy with that delivery, because she's got a wicked left foot and can really hit in good set pieces, so hopefully she can get the next one.
Yeah, it certainly seems that point, doesn't it? They've just left them a bit short, and as you say, there's a lot of factors that can go into that. It's not as simple as just not kicking it hard enough. But yeah, interesting to see whether they can rectify that as we progress forward. A friendly fire there as well. I think it's just not quite bouncing Maitland's way, and you see Sophie Stapleford just shaking her head. She's not exactly pumped with the way things are playing out for Maitland at the moment, and this is very similar to what happened the first time these two sides played. Lake Macquarie weren't exactly clinical or significantly better than Maitland in the period where they managed to score, but they just sort of frustrated them. I think the matchup of the way they play has just disrupted the style for Maitland, and it seems we're in that process again early here. And if Lake Macquarie can capitalise here, that would be a big swing. The ball spits out wide. Georgia Mess gets hold of it. They play it forward now. Marion Swang. It's third on the leading goal scorers in the competition, behind Tara Andrews and Maddie Gallegos. They play it forward. Stapleford, a nice ball. Georgia Amos will look to turn on the afterburners here and get to the outside of Sonny Mitchell. Plays it around her, does well. And Brooke Summers comes flying back and clatters it over the sideline, and Maitland had a throw deep in attacking territory. Will O'Neill comes down. Bellingen Jr. will take the throw. And Swank comes forward. Neal drops it back in behind. Nanovic takes a strike. But a little off target in the end. You feel, I don't know, Cass, it just seemed like that was a little bit of frustration building up for Maitland, and Sophie just decided she was going to wind up and try and put a foot through one because not much is presenting in the box for them.
Yeah, compared to how they started the game, I thought they looked, quite dangerous in getting numbers forward, and Lakes have had a bit of a patch here where I think what you said before, they're frustrating Maitland a little bit, and obviously Sophie wants to try and lift that for her team, and sometimes you've got to try and take those shots. So I think credit to her for giving it a go, trying to step up and be a leader. I know she'll be frustrated with how it turned out. Georgia Amos getting herself in a little bit of strife now.
So just got clarification on the kit challenge here, and apparently a bit of instruction from the league just in regards to Lake's away kit clashing with Maitland's home kit. They're quite similar in pattern, the blue and the white versus the black and the white. So here we are in the very electric aqua or teal of Maitland. There's a lot of blue and white and black and white sides floating around, especially in the women's competition, Cass. It makes it quite challenging. So
yeah, there's always challenges with the kit, but I'm sure Maitland wouldn't be too upset for wearing that teal kit.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Looks good. This run is looking good as they're structuring it forward. Nice little tap on Stapleford. Gawthrop, can she get a shot away? No, she's dispossessed again. And I was going to say the referee's going to go to a pocket here because the cynical fouls from Maitland are just starting to pile up again, in line with that frustration that we were talking about. A blatant jersey pull from Gawthrop there after she was dispossessed.
Yeah, you could see that coming. Maitland having a few fouls. And, Keely took one for the team there, I guess. But, you got to watch those ones.
Referee sends them back, and now we're good to get underway and get moving. It's interesting, despite the fact that not a lot has particularly gone their way, specifically for Lake Macquarie. They just seem to have a spring in their step the last couple of minutes. Maybe they can see their opponents getting frustrated. But Georgie Williams sneaks in behind. She's going to have an opportunity here to open the scoring. Selflessly gives it off to Sophie Stapleford, and then Bella parries it down, and Stapleford can't get there. And you have to wonder, Cass, was Georgie Williams better served just taking a shot herself there? It was selfless. It was going to, your known quantity, your known striker. But as a youngster, sometimes you've just got to back yourself. I mean, we've seen it with your Jet side with some of those girls that have come through, and now they've started to come into their own. When you have a look at the likes of Sophie Hoban, they're now leading the way at the front. Sometimes just backing yourself might be the right go there, I think.
Yeah, I think so. She should have backed herself there. She got herself in a really good position, and I think Lakes kept her on side, and she should have just taken the shot. That's how you learn, and that's how you grow as a player, by getting yourself in those positions and taking the chance. But she still made a good pass too. So she didn't stuff up, I guess.
I was going to say, hindsight's a wonderful thing too, right? Like if Sophie Stapleford buries that into the back of the net, as she probably does 8 to 9 times out of 10, well, we're not even talking about it. We're talking about how wonderfully selfless is. Amos into the box, takes a shot, parried by Vella. She scrambles out off a line and dives on it. Yeah, as I was saying, if Sophie had buried that, then we would have been talking about what wonderful selfless play it was from the youngster to give it off to the experienced player. So sometimes you can't win.
No, you can't. Yeah, it would have been a great assist by her if Sophie had scored that one. You can just see Maitland having a couple of good chances now. Lake's got to make sure they stay switched on and get those clearances really out of their danger area.
And prod this forward through end swing. She has it taken away by White. Ball threaded forward for Sarah Casey. She tries to cross it in through a crowd of Maitland jerseys. Can't find a way through, and Maitland lay it back now. They'll take their time. Here's Williams. She's been everywhere. She's been electric. She plays it forward. Lake Macquarie keep Amos on side. Can she find in swing in the box? She's double teamed in the end, and Summers pokes a foot at it, and it trickles across the sideline. And now Will O'Neill will take the throw. Amos has space. Outside, Sonny Mitchell just trying to play her into the corner. Amos happy to take it off Mitchell's legs and earn another corner for Maitland. The same spot we've seen the first couple. Can they get this one up and into a contest?
Maybe a short corner option might be on. Can see Soph just hanging on the edge there.
It's an interesting piece. Neither of these sides, you look at some of the other teams, have quite a bit of tall timber. Neither of these sides have a lot of height in the box to go for, and in the end, Enswing gets hold of that, finds Amos at the back post, and ends up coming away with Casey. Drops it to Nardovic. Williams. Georgia Amos now 1-on-1 in the corner with Lily Brooks. Plays it back. Both players clatter onto the ground. Referee says play on. Gosner. And Carter behind her, but plays it wide for Innes. Williams. Gawthrop, 1-2. Williams racing away down the sideline. Cuts back. Lofts the ball into the box. Jensen gets it. Headed down. End swing now with it after Amos. And oh, little tap. She tried to be too cute and found the outside of the post. Despite all of the opportunities, Maitland are yet to be able to even buy a goal, Cass.
Yeah, that was good play there by Maitland. Definitely deserved a goal out of that. They'll be frustrated. They've had a good couple of chances in the last 10 minutes.
They've got a foul.
Julie Gawthrop again. Got to be careful here. She's had already on a yellow and now another foul, so it's only early on in the game. You don't want to see the players getting sent off this early, as we know.
No, it certainly starts to become a challenge, no matter who you're playing against, once you start going down players. Mitchell now plays it back. I'll tell you what, just looking back on those last couple of chances, Entswing and Stableford in that sort of close range one-on-one with the keeper, I think it would have been a fairly long-priced suggestion to suggest that both of them wouldn't score. Maybe they can rectify that here. Entswing now in close quarters, beats Summers, then lays it out wide. Stableford crossed it into the box. Amos at the back post, heads it over the byline a little to the right of the goals, but again looking promising for Maitland.
Yeah, they're starting to move their front players around and interchange positions, and I think Lakes are struggling to know who to follow or whether to stay, and Maitland is starting to find some gaps now.
It's got a real feeling now if they could get one that they could end up with 2 or 3 before half time, but it's all about getting that first one that might be the break of the dam, and Lakes certainly aren't going to die wondering. They're not sitting back and waiting. They play it wide now. Play to Weston out wide on the right. Plays it back for Casey. Casey takes a shot. You call it a shot. It was a little half-hearted and bounces up kindly for Thornton. They're not without their own chances, Lakes here. They've created a couple. It's just been about getting that last finish, last opportunity occurring. Can't really get a really challenging shot on target that's keeping Annabella Thornton. She hasn't had to work as yet. Amos now versus Sonny Mitchell. Sonny Mitchell working, trying to stay composed over the ball. Amos will shepherd this and should be another corner. Amos takes the short corner quickly and swings there. Cross it into the box. That looks optimistic and aggressive from Williams. Amos again, cross it into the box. Stableford lays it off. Ball driven over the crossbar. Bernardovic gets underneath it rather than getting through it. And Vela watches it sail away into the evening. Now Lakes working it out. Mitchell makes a run down the left. They just push it forward without any real visible plan. Gawthrop now over the ball up against Jensen. Bernardovic back to Gawthrop. Stableford calling for the ball. Those avenues closed though. Now they push it infield and swing. Plays it out in front up against Summers. I think she thought Stableford was heading towards the byline, but she'd cut back infield. Will O'Neill takes it away for the moment. Gets a little prod on it, a little too heavy, and we'll have a goal kick. It's a little bit of fatigue, and it's starting to sink in as we get late in this half. Remember, a lot of the, well, not so much Maitland, but the other sides have had cup games midweek. Maitland were fortunate they drew Mid-Coast, who don't have the Premier League side, so it's just the junior sides that played in cup action. Either way, both sides just looking a touch disjointed and not as cohesive as they had started to find as we get later in this half. Amos leaves that one for Neil. That was well read and well played. Puts it out in front. Stableford versus Summers. Captain v captain. Neil making a run, but Stableford happy to lay it all the way back. Amos again decides to leave it for someone else. She's just a consistent decoy at the moment. Carter goes wide. Innes now, Williams. Nanatovic takes it on. Williams playing it forward, but Casey gets it and pushes it across the line.
Yeah, I think both teams looking a little bit fatigued at the moment. Need someone to step up and make something happen.
And swing under some look like undue pressure on the jersey from Brooks, but referee says play on. Certainly a handful in swing, especially in close quarters. That just sort of control of the ball is, there's not a lot of players at this level who are executing that so well, so consistently.
Yeah, she's good with her feet and she can turn quickly. So you don't want to be too close to her, but also not too far away. So there's a fine line. Sounds
like that. Sounds like Goldilocks, doesn't it? You know, it's not too warm, not too hot, not too cold. There is a magic distance, though. I look forward to seeing that later in the season when you get the chance to go up against her. You'll be able to show us how that's done.
I'll try. Hopefully, I'm not playing centre back. So
yeah, well, that's true. Well, you've done that a little bit this season at the Jets.
Yeah, a couple of games I've had to go back into centre back. Felt like both times. But no, that's okay. It's sometimes good. You can talk a little bit more from the back, and in midfield, you run in all the time, so you don't get that breath to be able to, speak and direct, and it's nice to be at the back sometimes for that.
So play it for here, Llewellyn. Takes a strike, and Thornton takes a knee to take it on her chest. Back to that, you're doing a bit of both ends. You've been scoring some goals this season as well, so you're doing a bit of everything.
Oh, not too many goals. I think I started strong, but it's faded away as the season's gone on.
So you had a bit of a run. You got goal of the year last year, and then you got plenty in the NPL when you're back. So I'll wait and see if that delivers again. I'm sure you'd love to be part of a New Lantern team surging up and into finals this season. Yeah,
that's the plan. I think the girls are doing pretty well, so getting themselves into a good position for when Loz and I return. So looking forward to being back out in this league and hopefully getting a few goals, which is always fun.
Let's see if Tara lets anyone else score any. At the moment, she's, as I said, 17 goals in. Has she played all of the games? 7 games? 6 games?
Yeah, she has.
7 as of last night.
She has. We're going to have to start calling her a hog. We'll have to see how she goes once Loz and I are back.
I think she got excited because Renee Valentine and I were describing her as being a little quicker than we've seen her over the last couple of seasons the other week, and so now she's just charging forward and scoring goals for fun, and why not? Yeah,
it's a bit of a funny joke now that she started doing some other sports with no A-League.
Opportunity here, but no, cleared by McMahon.
Yeah, she's playing a bit of futsal, a bit of tennis, so I think she's picked up a bit of speed. She's really enjoying hearing that, though.
Yeah, she passed that on to me when she said that there's a few people have been telling her that, especially I think it was the game in the heat against Adamstown. They only played half the game on one day, then came back and resumed it later. So it's good to see aging like a fine wine, Tara, just continuing to get better, and when she's not scoring goals, she's jumping on here and doing a wonderful job like yourself. So it's nice to have the tactical and analytical bit to add to my conversations, at least. Beats me talking to myself, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it is nice. It's different. Never done commentary before, so it's obviously seen it from a different angle, and being able to talk about football it's awesome. It's what I love to do. So
chance here for Thornton onto the roof of the net, though. I thought she had it covered. Didn't need to worry as it went onto the roof of the net, but late Macquarie just pushing forward as we head into the last 6 or so minutes of this first half. it's been wonderful to have some current and ex-players alongside us in both the men's and women's competitions. We had Matt Butner with us yesterday, the young centre-back who's done his ACL from Lambton, so great for him to still be able to get involved and be involved. And we've had Ben Kantorowski keeping us entertained over a few of the opening weeks as well, yourself, Tara, and then throw in Renee Valentine and Brett Angel as well. I think we're going to get Zany on as well later in the season with the men, so real mixed bag of experience and different pieces, so it's been good fun.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to have I think some current players as well on here. Obviously, you could think it's a little bit weird having a current player commentate the other games, but I think it's good. It's helpful because I know most of the girls, and I'm sure the same as the men's, they know the players, so it does make it a little bit easier to be able to talk about them and add a bit more info about the competition.
White over the free kick here, lofts it into the box. It's going to sit up. I was going to say awkwardly, but it ended up just sort of spinning forward and landing in the gloves of Thornton quite nicely in the end. As Maitland go on the counter-attack. They play it centre field for Stapleford, looking for the 1-2, but that'll be broken up. McMahon plays it forward. Stapleford deflects it. I found it was really good with Tara the other day, especially obviously she's currently active. I mean, you'll be back with us shortly in this competition, but she's currently active in the competition, so to be able to actually talk about what's happening out there from a point of view of players, we were talking about some of the centre-backs, and basically she'd been up against them a week or 2 weeks before that. I think it was actually that Adamstown side, and it was the week after they played them. So you're just getting a little bit of a caution here on the run, but she's detailing exactly what they tried to do to her the week before that they're trying to do now. So to have that insight is, it's not something you get in a lot of competitions.
Yeah, no, it's good, especially such a key player like Tara. She's so dangerous when she's got the ball, and as we've seen, she's scoring goals, and you can actually see the difference from when she scored the 8 against Broadmeadow to what teams are now starting to do to her, starting to double mark and really put pressure on her, which makes it difficult. So that's where other players need to step up, and you can't rely on one person.
McMahon now ranging forward, lays it off for Summers. She's been a little quiet so far, the captain. Pushes it out in front of Casey. Casey again lofts it forward, and in this field there's a lot. Jensen with a shove. She was getting a caution on the run. I was just about to say, Cass, it just feels that Lakes will play the ball around a couple of passes in defence. They get it forward to their midfield, and then it's just almost a hit and a hope. It's like they've got this something in their mind thinking that Maitland's defence is going to be so hard to break down, so we've just got to try something. They haven't really attempted to play the ball through and take them on. It makes it a lot easier job, especially when they've got big physical centre-backs that Maitland do. When you're looking at Carter and Gosner, they're just easily able to pick those balls off, position themselves to intercept them, or let them go through to Annabelle Thornton.
Yeah, no, I think you're right there. Lakes are doing a good job of playing it around, and as we've spoken about, there's a lot of space in the midfield, but if they can have a few more passes and try and get the ball forward in a more controlled way and stop playing.
Jensen tangled up with Gawthrop, and a second foul in a matter of moments. Sees the referee go to pocket for the second yellow card of the afternoon, and fittingly it's a foul on the player who got the first one.
Good battle between those two, both very physical and strong players, good on the ball, and don't lose it very often, so it's always nice to see when two players like that match up and have a real go. And now they're both on yellow cards, so it's up to them to see who can now be the smart one and not do it again.
That's it. See who can play the mind games, and there'll be a little bit of not giving away fouls, but can I lure the other one into giving me one? We saw that to very good effect in the F3 derby last night, luring a player into a foul, and Storm Roo found himself red carded. Sometimes that mind game's, I'm sure that's half the battle and half the fun when you're out there sometimes, especially when you know someone's on a yellow card, if you can just prick away at the surface within the bounds of what's right.
Yeah, it is fun, especially when people get fired up, and you know that they will if you start to annoy them, and yeah, that's how the game works. Everyone does it, so.
Ball watched across the sideline, so it'll be a Lakes throw. And from your point of view, when you're playing, do you have a fairly good idea when you're playing against other teams who those players are going into certain games, the ones that have got the shorter fuses and those sorts of things?
Yeah, you normally know. I sometimes try not to get too involved in it, though. Let the other girls do that. But yeah, it's pretty easy to pick out. Probably more so in this competition.
Loda Weston, we'll come back to that in a moment. She's away here, one-on-one. Using her pace to get around Carter. If she can keep the ball in, it's going to be a great chance for Lakes. Carter does well to block the attempted cross. Neal trying to keep it in, but can't do so, so it'll be a throw in deep in attacking territory. And that will be half-time here. Very little added time. We're straight to the break, and we're all tied up still at 0-0 at the break. An enthralling encounter as the top-placed Maitland FC play host to Lake Macquarie City. Opportunities for both sides in the first half, Cass, but Maitland certainly had by far the better of them, and Joe Wright's probably ruining the fact that they're not leading by at least one, if not two, at this point.
Yeah, it's been an interesting game. I think Maitland definitely have had the better of chances, but Lakes have rode the storm, and yeah, if they can keep the ball on the ground and keep trying to play through midfield and try and get...
That's the feeling. Progress. Momentum. Getting somewhere. That's what it feels like when you bank with Newcastle Permanent. With local experts and award-winning customer service. We're here for you, and we're here for good. the feeling. Progress. Momentum. Getting somewhere. That's what it feels like when you bank with Newcastle Permanent. With local experts and award-winning customer service. We're here for you, and we're here for good.
Welcome back to Cook Square Park for the second half of the Northern New South Wales Women's NPL Round 8 match of the round. You have, of course, tuned into the Northern New South Wales Football's YouTube channel, where you can catch all of the NPL men's and women's first and reserve grade games throughout season 2025, live and free. Every game brought to you on YouTube. Chris McPherson and Cass Davis here, bringing you the action from Cook Square Park as the sun sets behind us. And Cass, on premise of possession and territory, you would think Maitland probably should be leading this by a couple of goals, but Lakes have just been gritty. They've hung in there. It hasn't been the most pretty display yet, but the game in the balance is 0-0. I'm sure the message at half-time would be very much about a reset and taking the positives if you're Lakes. If it's Maitland, it's just converting your chances.
Yeah, I'd say you're probably spot on. I think Lakes have got to be disciplined for these first 10-15 and try and hopefully ride out Maitland's attack that they have. It's, a very lethal attack. So if Lakes can ride it out, I think this game could really become even more of a physical battle. But on the other end, if Maitland can finish a couple of chances, maybe the floodgates may open.
Now, both sides have found their way to goal throughout the season. Only 2 goals difference in terms of their attack, but Maitland know it's their defence that's going to stand up. It has stood up already on a couple of raids, but I'd really like to see, I think we talked about this before half-time, I'd really like to see Lakes just play have some joy. That's where it might come from.
Yeah, I think so. They just need some more people to support her. She's got pace, but you can't be running past 3 players. So they've just, got to try and keep the ball up into Maitland's defence area and try and have some possession there. As you said, they're going from the middle to the front in a long pass. So the chances of that coming off aren't very high.
Wait and see. It looks like that'll fall to maybe Jensen and Trappett pushing up in support, but the challenge is, I guess, with the numbers Maitland are loading, they're really reactively defending and a lot of numbers going back as well for Lakes. So it's a fine art. It's all nice and easy from up here.
Yeah, it definitely is. Everyone says that. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? It's different when you're out on the field. Yeah,
if I could play as well as I see it from the commentary booth, I wouldn't be in the commentary booth. So anyway, Casey comes rocketing in and nearly snipes Lily Brooks with some friendly fire there. Innes with the long throw. Tapped on by Nswang. Pushed across now. Kezia White working with her back partner. Now they prod it down the line. Summers just overcooks it a little and Brooks can't quite reel it in.
Good pressure by Georgia Amos there, forcing them back to this side where they had the numbers. If Brooke could have turned out there, I think Lakes would have gone on an attack.
Casey with the throw. Goes long. Headed in field from Loda Weston. Jensen very trepidatious there, knowing she's carrying a yellow card. Williams with a nice ball out in front of Neal. Tries to thread it in. Looking for Nswang and been broken up by McMahon, but she's in a fair bit of discomfort there after that. We'll keep an eye on her. Hopefully nothing too significant. Jensen sends it wide. The other important Casey prodded in. Williams takes it away, racing through. Look, Summers stopped that with her chin in the end, the pass. And Hardovic for Williams. Back to Gawthrop. George Ramas. Gawthrop lofts it forward, looking for Neal. It's headed inbound and swing, and Newson's in the box. If she can get a shot away here, cuts it back to her left, decides against it, lays off. Amos plays wide. She just couldn't quite get control of that end swing. Neal tries to cross it in. The attack continues for Maitland. Neal down the line. Gawthrop. Ramus plays it into the body of Summers. I'm going to have a foul deep in attacking territory, just in from the corner flag. It's essentially... Or it is. Is it going back for a corner? It is a corner, sorry. Thought we'd had a bit of a foul in the concept there, but it must have just gone across the byline. Hard to make out with the curve of Cook Square Park running away from us into that northwestern corner. And Swang drives it into that front post again. They leave it a little short, Maitland. So we'll have another chance to cross this one in. Deflected away by Trappett. Low to Weston. Takes it away from Stapleford. Good physical contest. And Swing slides in on Sonny Mitchell. She comes away with the ball. And Swing comes a second time. And then there's a challenge after the pass. Just a little bit of a collision more than anything. Not too much in it.
Be interesting to see the stats on fouls. There's been quite a few today. A lot of fouls breaking up the attack as well.
It's always interesting to see where referees sort of draw that line in terms of sort of the cynical foul, isn't it? Because you can quite often, if it is intentional to break up the attack, speaking of fouls, here's another one that was just careless in the end from Kimmy Trappett. She tried to argue the fact, but it was pretty clear cut. Kelly Gawthrop's been put through the ringer today, that's for sure. Some of it of her own doing, some of it of other people's.
Yeah, she has. She's been on the ground quite a bit.
Nardovic. Dramus has been busy today. Plays it off again for Nardovic. Gets the ball back. Nice little 1-2. Trappett in the centre of midfield. Breaks it up again. Low to Weston. She's got one runner with her in Brooks, but she beats three. Can she beat a fourth? Tried to get to the outside, but Carter read it. And she cut back against the grain and uses a presence to take it away. We did say this before, she can't beat everyone. She beat three but couldn't beat the fourth.
Well, yeah, it's not everyone, is it?
No, exactly. Oh, I wasn't suggesting you were wrong. I was suggesting you were right.
Yeah, that's where you need that person making that last little run for her to be able to slip that in instead of having to go herself.
It looks like Lily Brooks is certainly pushing a bit higher now, and she was trying to make that run, but Julia Innes was just wearing her like a shadow. Ball threaded out in front of Loretton. Turned over. Thornton has it now. Also a bit of a hush just drops over Cook Square Park. It was a little bit eerie. Plenty of crowd noise, and now the crowd have got engrossed in this as the sun sets behind us, and well, looks like finishing this one just under lights.
Lily, where do you need to be now? Get narrow, get really narrow for me. Inside her.
Oh, hit hard and deep into attacking territory for Williams. Up against Casey. Casey gets a boot to it. Williams bounces back. A little bit of confusion between her and Mary Enswing as to who was coming away with it. Neither of them did. And they play it forward for Loda Weston. Gets a bump and a shove. She appeals to the referee. The referee says keep going. I'll blow the whistle if there's a foul. Williams threads it forward, looking Gawthrop. Lakes can't quite clear it. Enswing, a little heavy touch. Summers plays it away. Williams now injects herself in. Gives it to Enswang. Jensen retreating, takes it away. Well intercepted. Will O'Neill read that. Loretton tries to break it up. Now they go to Stapleford. A mess. Back to Stapleford. And Nardovic plays it wide to Will O'Neill. Jameis cuts with pace. Lays it off now. Shot from range. Well wide in the end. More promising, just a little off target from the captain in Stapleford.
Yeah, decent strike there from Soph. They haven't had a lot of close range opportunities or clear chances so far in this half.
All played out, open. Play to Weston, one-on-one here. Plays it infield. Brooks is there. Innes cuts in front. Referee says she got the ball low to Weston, comes away with it. We've got a play down in the box in Brooks. They're going to keep working around her. A little shove in the back. And Keely Gawthrop a little frustrated. But with Brooks down in the box, the referees decided there's too much traffic going on and we're going to have to pull up.
Yeah, Kimmy was close to running into her, but you're probably not going to stop there if you're towards the edge of the box and could possibly have a chance out of it.
I think it was Innes there tracking back in defence, did really well just to get herself in front and get some foot to the ball before they did clip each other's heels on the way through.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to be a drop ball to Lakes or to Maitland or a free kick. Who knows?
Yeah, you'd think it'd be a bit rough on Lakes if it was a drop ball for Maitland, wouldn't you? Like, they had the ball and look, I don't know, there was probably enough in it from Gawthrop, but at the same time, you could see it being called a foul. I think she pivoted around very quickly when the whistle went. I think she's probably a little nervy knowing that she's on that yellow card as well. And we've got the coaching staff from Lake Macquarie trying to help the referee. I think the description I overheard was saying that Keely Gawthrop ran through the back of her. Not Keely Gawthrop, sorry. Innes ran through the back of her in terms of the play on the ground. I think that's probably overselling it a little.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the ref's saying to the players.
One thing I give the referee is she's very cool, calm and composed with the way she's dealing with it all. She's got good control over it, which is all you can really ask at this point. It looks like we might have Lily Brooks coming off. They're prepping a change. Maybe Indiana or Dino getting ready to go on. Yeah, it certainly doesn't look positive, and we hope it's nothing too serious for Brooks. Hopefully it's just a knock. Fortunately, we've seen a spate of injuries across the competition this season. A few ACLs and head knocks and other quite serious pieces, and then a few other shorter term injuries. Hopefully this is much in the latter rather than the former. It is Ordino that'll come on. The Indy Ordino to come on.
Had a feeling it was going to be Maitland's drop ball.
I'd love to understand the logic behind that.
I think because when they tackled, she touched it last.
Okay,
I think.
So they're saying illegal tackle, Keely Gawthrop. That's the logic. That sort of makes sense to me. It's as good as an explanation as any. We'll go with that. I would hope as someone who regularly wears a captain's armband, you've got a slightly finer understanding of the laws of this game than I do.
Oh, I don't know about that. The rules change all the time. I do find it hard sometimes to actually know what they are.
I was going to say, there's rules and then there's interpretations of the rules as well, which makes it more confusing.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I used to say this all the time when I officiated another one of the codes, and I'd say, look, we don't need to make this any more complex. myself included, we're not all necessarily the smartest people out here, so keeping it simple is sometimes easier. But anyway, so many nuances in our games. White threads it down, looking for Odino. She's just come on, but can't quite find her, and Carter sends it back to Thornton, and they go wide now. Williams, little chip ball over, looking for Stapleford. Summers breaks it up. Odino gets her first touch. Now they work through. The captain in Summers. Again, a little bit of a hit and a hope, and I think she was looking for low to Western there, but she was sitting on her heels and not expecting the pass.
Yeah, I think that's still the same as what we've been talking about for most of the game, trying to play that long ball through to Emily low to Western. You need a few more players up there supporting. Seems like their midfielder are staying quite deep, and they don't really have an out-and-out 10 supporting the front three.
There they go again. This time I think they're looking for Odino, but just watchfully seen over the line by Carter. Interesting to hear the commentary from the bench. We've got Macquarie's bench just in front of us, and they're talking about happy to go narrow and let them go. So obviously talking about they don't want Maitland coming through them. They're happy to let them try and go around them.
Yeah, it's probably the simple way of football really is the goals are in the middle, so don't let people come through the middle, and if you get narrow it forces the ball into fullbacks, and it's normally the cue to then press. So it's a good easy understanding for players, and
especially look. You just have to look at the makeup of the forward line. It's the same for both sides really. There's no real significant height, so if they're going to be crossing the ball in from out wide, you're going to back your defenders with the likes of Williams, who's quite short, and Swing, who's short. Well, they make Georgia Amos look like she's tall, so that's probably saying something.
Yeah, that's right. If they're getting balls into wide areas, and I think as well for Maitland, they've got Sophie playing as a number 10 or a number 9 with Swing, so probably not having her service out on the left as well. You'd be comfortable to send it out there.
Well, looking to be threaded through. Well stopped by Summers. Jensen threads it through. Innes does well just to get a boot in. And Jensen throws herself at that one. And a sniper might have got Georgie Williams on the way through. Had a little leg spasm or something as she went to go and get that. She's looked dangerous, Georgie Williams, as has Mary Enswing. It's just probably been the conversation and combination between the two of them. If that gels, teams could be in for a lot of drama because they're both so agile and dangerous in close quarters that's going to be an absolute handful for defence if those two can figure out their combination.
Yeah, I think so. Getting Georgie Williams into wide areas, running at the defence, and the same as Enswing with her technique. And if you can try and get those players on the ball, same as Georgia Amos in wide areas, getting the balls into the box, going to hurt teams.
I'm going to have Georgie Williams getting a rest. A well-deserved run, a great stint from the youngster. And also Mary Enswing, interestingly, coming off. Changes Kayla Wright and Sienna Frost. Sienna Frost has been a good impact from the bench, and even when she started, she was looking very dangerous in the first half of the reserve grade fixture, as well as Sarah Casey. Can't quite reel that one in. No Charlie O'Connor, no Renee Pountney just yet. Annabelle Thornton with the goal kick. Headed forward now. Nardovic has it taken away. Low to Western. Under pressure. Trappett has been dispossessed, and now we see Frost push the ball inbound. Gawthrop. Right. Strong ball out in front, looking for the pace of Amos. Vella's racing out. Great decision in the end. I thought she was in a bit of trouble there with Georgia Amos Racing and decided to slide boots first and collected it cleanly.
Yeah, I did too. That was a great challenge there to come out and clear it. Georgia Amos has got pace to burn, so she would have been probably on goal if she had got that.
She hasn't been called on a lot, Elise Vella, but she's certainly done a good job the 3 or 4 occasions where she has had to step up in close quarters or closing down space like that one. And so as I say that the ball comes into the 18-yard box, hopefully I haven't put the commentator's curse on it. That would have been unfortunate. But they see it clear for the time being. Frost racing back to take it. All played wide. Nenadovich plays it for her. And Sarah Casey sends it onto the roof of the stands and away. Minutes to the throw over the top, looking for Gawthrop. Doesn't win it initially, but manages to get it played on for Frost. And the referee says Sienna Frost gets the last touch before it goes across the byline. So another goal kick for Macquarie City. Almost 20 minutes of the second half gone, still no score. Shot from range, that was best described as optimistic. At worst maybe described as wasteful. Yeah, and we saw Maitland settle into this period in the middle of the first half as well, Cass, where they had the dominance of the game and they had the upper hand, but then frustration that it wasn't amounting to a lot for them. They just decided to start taking a few, what you might describe as pot shots from sort of mid to long range.
Yeah, they seem to be getting a little bit frustrated, and Lakes are doing a good job of that.
Sophie Nenadovich has come off second best there in a collision with Arnie Jensen. Appealed to the referee. The referee happy to let it play. I'm not sure if she's going to let that one play, is she? No. I thought for a moment she was going to let that go. Emily Loader Weston down and in a little bit of discomfort. That would be a bit of a blow for Lakes if that's anything too serious. Hopefully it's not, already having had one change forced by injury. Yeah, physio called on. We'll have a look at what happens from here. Hopefully nothing too significant. As I said, she's sitting up and was holding the lower leg, so we'll see how we go from here. And it's probably the luxury that Joe Wright has, is if he has any knocks or anything of significance cast to some of the key players, despite the fact they are coming back from injury, he's got a couple of experienced campaigners, or a few experienced campaigners on that bench to pick from.
Yeah, he does. I'm not sure how much he's going to want to push those girls that have been out for a little bit. It's a hard one to make as a coach. Do you put them on and take a risk and try and get a win, or yeah, do you take the risk that they may get injured? So, but yeah, it's the tough call to make.
It is. Speaking of tough calls, the coaching staff, Gabrielle Blanch and her team, are saying to Loader Weston to come off, and she was trying to wave them off. She was saying, no, I want to keep going, but looks like they will be making that change. And so it'll be Indiana Moyes to go on. A good stint for Emily Loader Weston, and as we said, hopefully nothing too major. She's walked off under her own steam, which is always a good sign. You have to feel that Gabrielle Blanch and her team probably playing the long game there with someone as crucial as Emily Loader Weston though.
Yeah, with losing her, it's going to be interesting to see what Lakes do. Do they keep playing direct and try and get in behind, or they try and play the ball around a little bit more?
On through now, Jensen inside the box. Gets it away from Innes. Almost a chance there, but it's broken up. It's the most threatening they've looked so far, Lakes, and here they come again. Sonny Mitchell plays it out wide, but Will O'Neill takes it away.
Seems like Maitland have put on already 2 of their younger players, and now another one looks like she's coming on too. So it's good to see the young ones getting a go and getting that experience.
It's always good to see further injection. Innes has been strong for them. She'll get a rest now. Ilana Kearney on for her. So Casey comes flying through, and as she did earlier in this half, absolutely rockets it forward, trying to keep it in bounds. Couldn't control it though. And the throw-in didn't actually manage to come in, so it'll be retaken by Kearney. Certainly a positive sign when you have a look at this Maitland squad. We talked about the experience, but the handful of young players, sort of 16, 17, 18-year-olds coming through their ranks, getting game time under Joe Wright. You see the ball threaded forward for Ordino. She can control this inside the byline. She can. Plays it into the legs. Doesn't go out though. Kearney working it into the corner. It's back across. Carter. Frost. Jensen takes it away, keeps it inside the field. Splits between 2 defenders, gets it to the edge of the 18-yard box, takes a shot. Thornton does well, carries it down and then manages to reach and reel it in just inside the post.
Yeah, it was a great chance for Lakes there. Arnie Jensen did well to beat 2 Maitland players and get a shot on. I just feel like if Lakes are going to score it, it's going to be her.
Kearney working back, shepherding it for Thornton. Didn't quite take it cleanly. Thornton, remembering she's just 18, took out the Goalkeeper of the Year award in this competition last year for Northern New South Wales. What a phenomenal effort at that age. White for Summers. Out to Casey. Casey back infield, trap it, looking for Ordino. Casey takes it away from Sienna Frost. Carter, trying to work out her options, managed to sell the dummy to Ordino. Before Kearney plays it into the legs of her opposite number and trap it. Right, under pressure from Summers, comes away with it. Drops it back into defence. Maitland looking a little disjointed for a moment here. Stapleton was waiting for it and it's taken away. Right, can't control it. Jensen comes back. McMahon goes all the way back to Vella. And pushes it forward, looking for Jensen. Jensen has Stapleton upon her. Lofts it forward. The flag stays down for the time being. Thornton's out of the box though. And Loretton can't capitalise.
Yeah, that was good goalkeeping. She could tell that Lakes had players on Maitland's back line and they were quite high, so she made herself, well, she was brave I should say, and came out and did a great job to get that.
Georgia Reyes racing down there, but just pushed away by Kezia White. Really feels like it's just settling into a real balanced arm wrestle now with those changes that Maitland have made. Despite the fresh legs, Joe Wright showing some confidence in the youth, and interesting to see if they can get that spark and find something. But at the moment, it's hard to really tell who's completely got the upper hand. A couple of chances recently for Lakes. If they can just snatch one of those, despite the weight of possession and territory across the fixture, you feel they could then maybe tighten the screws and take away 3 points, which would be something phenomenal here at Cook Square Park. Stapleford sends a raking ball forward. Gawthrop ducks under. Georgia Amos pops it back in for Gawthrop. A 1-2. Amos again. Takes a shot, and Vella just pops it up for herself. Looks calm, cool, and collected. Does Elise Vella.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Who's actually got the upper hand at the moment? If I had to pick someone, I would probably say Lakes. I just feel like the subs that Maitland have made haven't really settled into the game, and I think the players like Sophie Nenadovich, Sophie Stapleford, Georgia Amos, Keely Gawthrop, they're not getting on the ball as much at the moment, and I think it's starting to hurt Maitland.
Dino with a challenge, but going back for a belated offside flag. It's interesting too, like we were a little concerned, I guess, when Emily Loder-Weston came off, but it feels like now, because there's not just one go-to up front, they've got a couple of players pushing up. They've got Ordino, they've also got Moyes now coming on, and also on top of that, Jensen seems to take a little bit more responsibility on her, so all of a sudden they look a little bit better in attack in terms of pushing forward. There's a few more numbers because they're not just loading to Loder-Weston, pardon the unintended pun.
Yeah, sometimes making a sub like that can change things because you can't rely on someone's pace.
Foul called there on Sonny Mitchell. Sorry, back to you, Cass.
Yeah, I just think that, having that pace, you rely on it a lot, and you think, oh, if I need an out, I'm going to play in behind, and it becomes a bit of a habit. So when you don't have someone that's as quick, you've got to change your mindset.
Forced plan B. We've talked about this a couple of times when I've called both with yourself and with Tara Andrews about Broadmeadow and LJ Babic. Yeah. That's their go-to, and then when they lose her, they don't really have a plan B, and so they just keep trying that with someone like a Loader, but it doesn't necessarily always work out.
Yeah, that's right. I think Lakes and Broadmeadow have a similar style with the way that they have both their strikers being super quick. So, yeah.
Stapleford takes a shot. I'm not sure if it's a shot or if it's intended to put it into the box to the favour of one of their players, but either way, it amounts to nothing. Vella was watching it at that left post. Down the line, looking for Jensen. They're toying with her a little bit here. Gawthrop, though. Comes infield, it's turned over. Carter hacks it forward. Falls the advantage of right. Not the prettiest of challenges, sorry, from Summers, but did enough to disrupt the play, and let's put it out in front of Georgia Amos. She does well to keep it in the field of play. Under pressure now. They clear it away for the time, Lakes, and just push it forward over the sideline. Will be a throw deep in attacking territory. Inside the final 15 here at Maitland. Still no score. Maitland have only dropped points once this season, and it was round one here at the same venue against the same team. Running repairs and instructions from the bench. Just getting Indiana Moyes to push back a little bit more and load up those defensive numbers. Contest, and the ball spits out over the sideline. A throw in to Lakes. Try and work it out of their defence. Time ticks away here. Who can find the breakthrough? It's threaded. Looking for someone in the box, but there wasn't enough options there in aqua jerseys, and Maitland end up with it back just inside their own defensive half. They play it back through Annabella Thornton across. Now for Carter. Carter has space in front of it, takes it, lays it out for Lana Kearney. Now Jensen, and they see it away again, and Cass, we touched on it before, and obviously I think you talked about it with Renee coming back from that calf injury. Do you think there's a point here somewhere? Well, we'll come back to that thought in a moment as the ball's tapped infield. Not quite dealt with, and now seen away for Maitland. I was going to say that you feel that Joe Wright goes to the bench and risks Pountney, or do you think that only happens if they fall behind?
Yeah, it's a hard one. Depends on how her calf is, really. I think if Charlie O'Connor's been cleared of a concussion, then maybe she's the better option.
Jensen with a shot. doesn't really threaten and Thornton covers it.
Yeah, maybe Charlie might be the better option, although she's a defender. So it's a tough one because you can push someone and they can be out for another 6 to 8 weeks, and it can really hurt you long term.
Now Maitland trying to go on a quick counter. What can they conjure here? Amos tries to thread the pass, then just gives away a silly little foul. I just feel those frustrations coming again. Both sides unable to convert quite as they'd like. No real signs of too much movement from either side in terms of subs. I think they'll watch this for the next little bit and see how it plays out as we head down towards the final 10 minutes. 11 and a bit to go. Right down the line, nicely threaded ball. Trap it working. Plays it into legs and will get the throw.
Yeah, sometimes subs actually it's kind of worse to make sometimes if you've got momentum. So I think that's what maybe Lakes, they've had to obviously make a couple of forced changes, but other than that, seems like, yeah, they're pretty happy with what their players are doing at the moment.
Now here we go, ranging ball from Stableford. Casey's tracking back, shepherding it, and Vella happy to take it away. Now Lakes go on the attack. They go down the left. Little nudge, ball threaded in. Not quite cleanly dealt with by Carter. Nenadovich will send it long. Ball beats right with the bounce, and McMahon only does just enough, and Vella has to race out off a line. Nervy moments here on the Lakes bench. You just feel the tension, Cass, and it's really on a knife's edge, this one. Both teams, for different reasons. Maitland wanted to keep that unblemished record and, again, not wanting to suffer their first loss here this season at home, but knowing that the top of the ladder is on the line. The Lakes eyeing off a maybe miraculous upset win. Ball threaded wide. Summers manages to bisect her teammates and hits an opposition jersey instead. Now Stableford right makes a little bit of a meandering run, but the pass is broken up by McMahon. Arnie Jensen, she's got time and space. That's a dangerous proposition. Sonny Mitchell wide, taking on Georgia Mess. Georgia Mess gets a boot in and pushes it across the sideline. It certainly feels like different moods. You look at the two benches and it's almost optimistic and upbeat here in front of us, and there's chins being held, tense body posture down there at the Maitland bench. They know they had the best of those opportunities in the first half, and I think at the moment they're sitting there scratching their head as to how they could create a couple more of those and maybe seal this.
Yeah, I think they'll be pretty frustrated with the first half. They haven't had those chances in this second half, so to not put those away could hurt them in the end. And you can see Lakes getting a little bit on top, and
I just feel like they're growing as they manage to stay in this. It's almost like they've surprised themselves to this point, especially with those couple of injuries as well. Arnie Jensen, though, pulling the strings in midfield. Plays it back to McMahon. Wright presses hard at her, and McMahon takes advantage of that, threads the ball through. They continue to work here. Moyes pushing. Loretton tracking back on Neal. Neal trying to get it out in front. Again, there's that hit and hope that we talked about Lakes doing in the first half, and now it's Maitland trying their hand at it, and it's not working out. Vella reads it well, and she's done quite well in picking her times to come out versus staying back, has Elise Vella.
yeah, she's done a great job. Both goalkeepers, to be fair, have done what they can.
Opportunity here down the left. All being pushed forward. Mitchell heading down the line. Can she cross it into a target? Tries to find Loretton, but Loretton's clattered to ground, shoulder to shoulder. Now Wright comes away. Pushes the ball forward. That's a nice bit of vision for Frost. Try to thread it. It almost came off, not quite as they intended, but nonetheless the same. McMahon now will push it all the way back for Vella. And they'll continue to try and structure what they can here. Clearing ball. Kearney gets ahead to it. Lead from Moyes. Couldn't quite get it. It was only a matter of inches above her head as it bounced. Long ball. Looking for Georgia Amos in a foot race here. She gets the outside, takes a shot. Vella parries it down. Does well to get onto the deflection, does she? No. And then Georgia Amos on the third attempt gets the scoring open. A bit of a conversation here between the referee and assistant referee. Yep, we are confirmed, we are good. Georgia Amos on the scoreboard, and Maitland all of a sudden, at the point they least look like scoring, Cass Davis have got onto the board and taken the lead here.
Yeah, they obviously a bit of a mistake by Lakes at the back there. They nearly made up for it, but Georgia Amos was ready to pounce on it, and a nice finish. You could feel that if Lakes were going to make a mistake, Maitland would capitalise. It's a shame they've worked really hard today. And
Lakes haven't given up just yet. Shot over, hits the crossbar. My goodness, almost an immediate equaliser. And a corner. Lakes certainly aren't giving up just yet.
Yeah, good shot there by, I think it was Kimmy Trappett. Nearly, yeah, an equaliser straight away, but they've still got a corner here, so let's see what Lakes can do.
And I tell you what, if you had someone wanted to step up and deliver a corner at this point on everything we've seen in this game, it doesn't matter which side it is, Arnie Jensen would be the person you'd be asking to do it. And that's who's over this ball. But can they find a target in there? I'm surprised Kezia White's still sitting outside the box. She's the biggest target they've got in terms of height. And now it's a foot race. Maitland winning out for the time being. Sarah Casey plays it wide. Ordino. Trappett. Takes the lightest of touches, and the referee's not being sold on that one. Now White comes through. White dispossessed by Wright. The ball comes back to Casey. Casey, nice little touch from Trappett. She's going to try and play it for herself. I think Carter will see it over the line. And we're going to have a double change here for Maitland. Probably got a better line of sight on that than I do, Cass, as to who we've got there, maybe.
Yeah, Charlie O'Connor coming on. Can't see who the other one is.
There's Charlie O'Connor coming on. Kelly Gawthrop. Is that Pratt coming on? Yeah, Lucy Pratt is the other. In jersey 6, so that's the full rotation. So there'll be no Renee Pountney today. Just resting that calf, playing it cautious. Didn't quite catch the other players that came off.
I was too busy looking at who was coming on.
Yeah, we're trying to work out who was coming on. We'll work that out. We'll do a series of deductions to work it out in a moment. Here we go. It's Talia Gosner. She's walking past us now. She went the long way. That's why I couldn't find her. She was wandering down in the corner on this end. So Gosner came off. She was replaced by O'Connor. That makes sense. Defender for defender. That'd be logical at 1-0 up. Now Maitland racing back to try and keep this in. Graham's tracking back. Offset forward. Maitland want to control this one from here. Under 3 minutes of regulation time remain. Moyes doesn't control this one. Challenge. Appeals for handball. Not quite sure what's going on in the end. She is saying handball. Fred and Maitland will push forward here. So Maitland will push back here to try and stop the Lakes attack. And work it forward. Well, O'Neill charging forward after breaking that up. Confusion there. I'm not sure what happened. Ball just left in no man's land. Arnie Jensen now. Lakes are going to need to find something quickly if they're going to get back on parity. Aldino cuts infield, plays it down the line, looking for Moyes. Carter gets the last touch. It'll be a throw in. Indiana Moyes with the throw. Finds Arnie Jensen up against the opposite number. Not sure if that was meant to be an attempted shot, but the next one certainly wasn't. It was a pass or a through ball, but the only person that finds is Annabella Thornton, and you can just see fatigue creeping in for Lake Macquarie. The extra game midweek starting to tell its toll here, up against, on the live ladder, the ladder leaders, Maitland FC. Only 1-0 here at home. It's been a gritty display by the visitors, but it may all amount to nil if they can't find a quick response here inside the last 60 seconds of regulation time. We don't have a fourth official board, so we're going to be doing our best to work out what's going on in terms of added time.
What's your guess?
I wouldn't think it'd be a lot. We haven't had a lot of significant stoppages in this half. Maybe 2.
Yeah, that's my guess too. Probably 2.
I think it'd be fair. It sometimes seems like a lottery, though. I'm not sure. Under the full cover of floodlights now, and Lakes pushing forward, trying to find something desperately. Sonny Mitchell giving her all until the end. Maitland happy to take their time and just wind this down. They hold the advantage as we head into stoppage time. At the discretion of our referee. Moon rises behind us. Here sets a lovely backdrop for the final few minutes of this clash. Like the game in round 1, very little between these two teams. But for the time being, Maitland hold the advantage. Coming back, the throw needs to go the way of Maitland.
Get across, lock in.
Maitland just try and clatter it forward. It falls to right. White. Right. White tackles right. I think we've got the wrong code. The referee's going to go to a pocket. That was silly and unnecessary, and it's just going to chew up additional time, which Lakes can hardly afford. We've gone past 1 minute of added time. The fourth official keeps looking at their watch.
Yeah, I'd say this will probably be it after this kick.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's too much more. And Maitland will be ecstatic to take 3 points after a gritty fight. If they can hang on here, a long range shot goes to the right of the goals as we look at it. Vella again, very watchful. Been outstanding as doing a job as a second choice keeper for Lakes in the absence of Taylor Gray. Right, gets another nudge from White. It's a bit of a mouthful to keep saying those two when they come together. In the meantime, though, Maitland are going to push their advantage and try and get a second in the dying stages here and really seal this. Hard to see the numbers on these aqua jerseys in the lights. Looks like Frost on the ball now. Lays it off for Kearney. A little nutmeg for back through to Frost. Crossed into the box, not completely dealt with. Wright had a half a chance. Arnie Jensen plays it back. Wright continuing to press the advantage. Instead, Sonny Mitchell now goes on a quick counter. Could this be the last attack? Oh, it's turned over. Sophie Stableford plays it through. Georgia Messler's looking for a second. Hits it past. A diving keeper in Elise Vella. Georgia Amos gets a third of the season, a second of the night. And you have to feel, Cass, that's sealed it for Maitland. They lead 2-0 in stoppage time.
Yeah, I think definitely done now. It's going to be probably, as soon as they kick this, I think it'll be done. I said that probably a minute ago, though, so...
If you keep saying it, we'll get it right shortly. We're a couple of minutes into stoppage time now. Felt it had to be somewhere sort of between the 1 to 3. We didn't have enough stoppages to go much longer than that, as you say. The referee will likely pull this up. Lake's going to have a crack and try and go again here with Dino. She's got Summers pushing forward in the box. Carney chasing hard. Clears it across the sideline. We'll have a throw in. Referee keeps us going. Casey will take the throw. And Jensen there, but decides to go to Trappett. Trappett under pressure. Wants to work back. But is dispossessed by Pratt. And then it's sent long. Frost. Out in front of George Amos, but Sonny Mitchell's going to be the one that retrieves it. Back to McMahon. Time ticking down here. Maitland leading 2-0 on their home turf, continuing this undefeated start to season 2025 in the women's NPL. Live and free on the Northern New South Wales YouTube. The referee checks her watch again. Well, actually thought about bringing the whistle to the mouth, but we'll give them a little longer. McMahon pushing forward, goes down the line to Mitchell. Lake's loading numbers forward, looking for a late response. But the referee says, no, that will do us. And the Magpies hold firm. They're unbeaten and unbroken at Cook Square Park. Lake Macquarie made them work for every inch, but the Magpies dug deep and found a way. It's not always pretty, but it is effective for Maitland. Cass, how important is it when you're sitting where Maitland are to get these sort of gritty wins in terms of building that championship mindset?
Yeah, very important. They're the hard games. As you said before, I think Lakes and Maitland have a bit of that dodgy team vibe, especially for Maitland. There's always that one team that you struggle against, and you could see that from the first game and tonight. So, yeah, very important to grind out that win. Yeah, as we said in the first half, they could have been up by a couple, but that's the way games go sometimes. And yeah, it's very important for Maitland to keep on their winning streak and a clean sheet.
And if you're Gabby Blanche and Mick Hugo, there's still some positives to take from that, because yes, Maitland won it 2-0, but for 80 minutes, a team that had played an extra game midweek held their own against the ladder leaders. It wasn't pretty for them either, but they did a job, and even as they lost players to injury. Yeah,
they did. They should be proud of themselves. As you said, played a midweek game. It's tough to go again, and most teams in this comp only train 2 nights a week, so when you're relying on outside fitness and extra sessions, it can be hard to play back-to-back 90-minute games. But yeah, lots of positives to take from Lakes. They just got to keep building on what they're doing, and yeah, keep trying to work on getting that ball in the front third by passing and not just playing through balls.
Well, we'll see where Lake Macquarie go from here. Maitland continue their lead at the top of the ladder. A big thank you to you for tuning in and spending your Sunday afternoon with us. I'm Chris McPherson alongside Cassidy Davis. Make sure you stay tuned to the Northern New South Wales YouTube channel for all your live and free NPL all season long. But here it is, Maitland coming out winners 2-0 over Lake Macquarie City.